welcome to the Lady Shock Squad. Happy to be here today with the Lady Shock Squad. I'm Chad. He's Brad. Don't forget, he reminds me all the time,
That's
the
right.
B comes before the C. So technically it should be Brad and Chad, but we'll let him have his fame on that one right there.
Yep.
So Brad, great day outside. Great guest on the line today. Excited for this one.
Oh, I agree, man. She's a stud from Wichita State here. So, I'm excited to talk to her.
Awesome. Yeah. So episode 2 right here. This is our second episode. Again, Ladies Shock Squad, NIL focused on women's athletics at Wichita State. This is our second episode right here.
Yep.
So we're super excited for this episode and ready to get it up and going. So with that, we're going to bring on Bri Utecht. Bri, did I say it right? Utecht? I've been practicing.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah,
right.
He's been using the Wichita State. When you go onto your athletic website, there's actually a little ear thing where you can press it, and
Yeah.
it's you saying your name
Yes.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, "This is great," and so
Yeah.
he did practice for a while.
Yeah. I want to make sure I get it right.
I got you.
Bri, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell everybody where you're from and what grade you're in there at Wichita State, and let's get this thing rolling.
I am from Springfield, Missouri area, a little town called Marshfield. It's like 30 minutes south of Springfield. I'm a sophomore at Wichita State, academically and eligibility for track. A lot of people aren't the same as their academic year, so I just wanted to put that out there that
Right.
I'm been on that. And I'm a heptathlete at Wichita State, and I'm excited to be here.
Awesome.
We're excited to have you, so we're going to bring all of us on the screen now.
There we
And
go.
I think, the first thing that comes to my mind, just so people know, what is a heptathlete and
Yes.
what all events does that include?
A heptathlete is a multi-event athlete in track. We do 7 events. The first event is the 100-meter hurdles, and then after the hurdles, you go to high jump, and then shot put, and then you do the 200, I think is the next one, and those 4 events are on the first day, and then you go to sleep at night, you get all rested up, and then the second day you start with the long jump, and you go to jab and finish it off with the best event, the 800.
Wow. I'm tired.
I feel
Yeah.
like Brad, you had a comment on that earlier,
Yes.
right? Brad had a question for you regarding
Yes.
the fact that you're a heptathlete. So what was your
Well, I was just sitting there thinking, I'm like, a lot of track athletes, they focus on sprinting, and then the other ones focus on jumping, and then your throwers focus on your throwing,
Yep.
whatnot. And you have to focus on all of them. So how do you? There's a one sarcastic question, which is, how does it feel to be the best athlete at Wichita State? Considering you have to, you have to focus on.
I don't think that's
all of
sarcastic.
that
I think
stuff.
that's a great question.
Well, yeah, I just I don't want to make all the other athletes mad.
Yeah.
But it's those old Bo Jackson commercials.
If they
Bo
get
knows.
mad,
Bri knows throwing, Bri knows sprinting, Bri knows
my
jumping.
gosh.
We just
Dude, that's a t-shirt right there.
Yep, we're gonna do it. We got you. But no, in all seriousness, I mean, obviously, the discipline it takes to be good at all of those. What's that like in practice? Do you practice every one of those every day, or how's that go?
So we have a schedule that's pretty set at this point. Like it was last year, my freshman year to this year, it's pretty much the same thing, just a little more not too hectic. So this year, our Mondays are looking at shot put, starting with that, and then going to high jump, and then doing hurdles, sprints. So Mondays are definitely our most events in one day, and then we have to lift on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, so you also have to add that in at the end. And so pretty much every day you're looking at a schedule like that. It's just each event on different days of the week. So Monday will be the events I said, and then Tuesday will be a couple other events and touch on some other events on another day. So pretty much it's just a crazy schedule. Like practices are like 4
can
hours
imagine.
long, 3
Oh,
hours
my.
long every day,
Yeah.
and just a lot of dedication. And you really have to be a student of the event. That's a
Yeah.
lot of what the heptathlon and decathlon is a lot of like video watching, reading, watching.
Okay.
I like to watch videos of like professional athletes who do like just high jump, do just shot put, and you can
Oh,
learn
yeah.
a ton from them. So it is a lot of dedication to this one event, and that's
Right.
actually 7 events.
Right.
Do you
wow.
like I've always wondered, do you find like do you have an internal battle where you're like, okay, I'm really good at this event, and so I want to win this event, and I know I'm going to get a lot of points from that one towards the whole towards all the points that'll add up from all the events, but I know this one I'm weaker in, and so I'm not going to focus. Like, I don't want to win this event. I'm good taking 5th place in this event because I'm still going to get enough points to win the whole thing. Like, is that a mindset, or is your mindset like, look, I want to win every friggin' event I'm at?
Right.
Yeah. So last year, my freshman year, definitely, I was more the first thing you talked about, where I would really just focus on like hurdles and like the 200 and long jump, because those are like my 3 events I did in high school.
Yeah.
So like I was more excited and like more confident in those events. And like shot put and like jab, I was like whatever. And then obviously the 800 is just kind of a mental battle with a lot of people.
Yeah.
But luckily I'm a good runner, so I kind of like to take that one head on. And I know that is probably the biggest point getter in the multi-event. Like each second is like 15 points. So if you beat someone, like if you're in 3rd place and then you go run like a 2:15 and another girl that was in 1st runs like a 2:30, then you can like beat her from just one event.
Oh, wow.
And it's the last event.
You're getting 15 points per second.
Times 15.
Oh, wow.
That's 225 points.
I did not know that.
And what's a good target total score over those 7 events usually?
A good target score that could qualify you for nationals would probably be 5,600 was the standard qualifying mark last year, which is the highest that it's ever been. So that just is like to show that in America, the multis are becoming more popular. Like usually it was the other countries that would be really good, like European countries that would have the good multis, and now we're like getting more serious on that event, which is awesome.
Good.
So what was your top score as a freshman?
My top score was around 5,100.
Okay.
So I was the 3rd best freshman in the country with that score.
Nice. And so this year as a sophomore, like I don't know what kind of pressure's on you, but I feel like the pressure from Brad and I is we're going to meet the standard, right, to be in the nationals.
Right.
Yes, sir. For sure. I think when I go out there in my next multi, I'm probably going to PR by like 500 points. Like it's going to be a big PR just because of the jump that I've made from my freshman year and just how crazy that jump is. Like especially like when you first start out with the multis, it's like pretty difficult because you're so new to all the events, especially like usually girls that do the multi are just like sprinter and like do long jump, and then they'll recruit you out of high school, and then you have to learn all these new events. So that was kind of a struggle for me last year. And like in high school I was used to like doing really well, and then I had a lot of like ups and downs my freshman year, you know how that is.
Sure.
So I'm glad that I got through that.
Yeah. I think you hear that from a lot of college athletes that, you know, it's very easy, not easy, but you know, there's a lot that excel in high school and are the best athlete on their team and the best athlete in the conference and even one of the best athletes in the state.
Yep.
And then you get into a D1 sport and you go, wow, like
there's a lot
I'm
of
good.
Really good athletes.
I'm good, but I can't just rely on what I've done before to get here. Like I've got to go put in that much more work so that I can be the best. Not just in the conference, but the best on my team. So it's interesting you say that. We have a girl from our county
Yeah.
that Brad and I live in.
Yeah.
Addie Heinsen's her name, and Addie multiple gold medals from state track everywhere in the 200, the 100,
4x4,
4x4,
yeah,
4x1, just a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And she's at Iowa State this year as a freshman. You know, one of the things that she relayed back was kind of what you were saying. Like, she's like, I'm not even the fastest on the team anymore. Like, before, I was the fastest on the team, the fastest in the league, the fastest in the state, by a large margin in some situations. And now the one thing that she had going for her is she said, I'm not the fastest, but I'm the strongest out of all of the sprinters. So what you said exactly that, you know,
and they're already looking at her to possibly move into the same type of thing, becoming a heptathlete, because they're like, man, she can jump, she's fast, she's strong.
Yeah.
And she might not be the best sprinter, you know, and this, that, and granted, she hasn't even really started yet, but, and we'll see how that progresses. But anyway, it was a pretty interesting conversation to have.
I think that, oh, go ahead.
Well, one of the things I was going to say was, I was going to ask you, and then you kind of answered it, what are your best, events? And in fact, you know, we asked Bri to send us a bunch of photos, things from high school, things that she likes to do, all these different stuff. And there's one photo that we're going to show that I would have, this one right here, that I was like, she has to be good at jumping, because I think you jumped over the net right here. Like, did you land on the other side? And, you know, I mean, your chin is above the, you know, I'm just like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
So, jumping has to be one of your best events, right?
It's funny you say that, because
or else there's a trampoline we don't see.
Yeah, my freshman year, if you watched me high jump, you would be like, oh my gosh, this girl can't jump at all. And it was like literally such a struggle for me. I went and jumped 5'5", my first ever meet for high jump, going into my freshman year of college. So like during an AAU meet. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be like a great event for me. And then I keep practicing over the summer, getting ready for the Junior Olympics. And I don't know, I just was thinking too much about it, and I would just go jump straight into the bar. I was thinking more clearing the bar instead of over, jumping up before. So it was just a big struggle for me my whole freshman year. And that was the one event that really kind of ruined my score and chances of going to nationals, honestly. I cleared 5 foot was the highest that I cleared my freshman year. And this summer I really focused on high jump, and just like I said before, was a student of that event. And now I'm clearing 5'3" from a 6-step approach, which is a short approach. 6-step approaches and consistently 10 times every practice. And so that is one thing that's really going to help my score is the high jump, because that's another big point getter. So I'm actually jumping really well again. So I'm really happy about that.
Well, and I think that, that's the thing that amazes me about a heptathlete is that, we had a conversation. So Desiree Spear is on our advisory board, and Desiree Osborne is her name. And if you could go look her up in some of the record books at Wichita State, but she was the first. She's in the Hall of Fame at Wichita State, and she was actually the first. You what?
I've definitely heard of her. Yeah. She's on a poster in the team room.
Oh,
yeah. So Desiree, you'll get to meet Desiree at some point. And but we were having a conversation with Desiree. We were eating lunch one day, and so we were just talking about just track in general. And she was a long distance runner, and it was funny because she's like, my people would I would have to run even some of the relays and stuff because I could handle the long distance and I didn't have pain, this and that. And she's like, and the sprinter, they just ran a sprint and need like a 4-hour break and a nap and a snack. And I just get done running like a 2 mile, and 30 seconds later, I got to go run a relay. And like, that's how I feel about heptathletes, right? Like, I feel like, okay, like Brad said, like the throwers focus on throwing. The sprinter goes in and runs sprints in practice, and they do that for a while and they're done. And in a meet, they're going to run a sprint, and they're great at what they do. But like, the skill and the talent level that you have to have, and the focus to say, man, I can't just focus on one event. I've got to focus on multiple events and be successful at multiple events, I think is amazing to have to do that at a D1 level.
It's very mental, like I said earlier. It because if you don't do well and like, let's say like long jump, you don't get like the mark that you wanted, then like 30 minutes later you have to go do javelin. So you can't like focus on that event that you just did bad, and you have to like move on past it pretty quickly, because each event you usually have 30 minutes in between, and like just clean slate. I'm gonna do well event, and that event just wasn't good today. So
you know, that, and that's great insight, I think, and that's the one thing that's cool about it, is that you have to forget what happened in the other event, right? You can't dwell on it. It's not like football where you have a whole week to think about, you know, how you might have done poorly in this and that. So, hey, real quick, so a couple of cool things that I want to mention. So one right now, we've got Mrs. Cammie Ballard's podcasting class is listening in and watching live on Twitch. So we haven't released our podcast stuff live yet, but she has a podcasting class for junior high kids.
Yes.
And she knew that we were doing the Lady Shock Squad and doing a podcast. And so she was like, she asked, hey, is there any way for me to be able to show it to our class today? And so Brad set it up so it was live. So if you could give a shout out to Cammie Ballard's podcast class, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm really glad you're listening.
Yeah,
and hope you enjoy what you hear and learn a lot.
And I think they needed to be at the beginning of this whole thing when we were having technical
that would have been great. Technical. What are you talking about? We had no technical difficulties.
Yeah, no, man. I'm telling you what, Bri has the patience of a saint, because for whatever reason, and it ended up being the goofiest reason.
Yeah.
You know, so anyway, but she was great waiting on us. So we'll have a lot to talk about with Cammie's class about being prepared.
Yeah. The other one, the other thing that I need from you, Bri, if you could, I think Brad mentioned to you before that his son goes to school at College of the Ozarks, which is very close. And where you prefer to be, mainly because you can be on the lake doing this, right? Like, who wouldn't want to be on the lake doing that? And so Brad mentioned that we were doing this, and so Seth was pretty excited about what we're doing. So can you give a shout? His son's name is Seth. So can you give a shout out to Seth, at College of the Ozarks?
There you go.
I'm jealous that you get to live in Branson and go to school.
Right. And so was that Table Rock right there, that picture? Yeah. When we go to visit, you know, we have a pretty big family, and one of the things we like to do is we'll go rent a boat at the Indian, I forget what it's called. Is it Indian Hills Marina? And then there's another one that's State Park Marina or something like that. But we'll go rent a boat and tube and stuff, and we go out there and do all that. And that is just such a cool lake.
So
it's awesome. I love it.
Can you slalom? Are you one ski? Can you do the one ski thing? I mean, this is a wakeboard, right?
Yeah,
but can you ski and do the one ski?
I've never tried, but I heard it's easier than wakeboarding, so I think I could. Wakeboarding is like the hardest water sport. Like, it's harder than surfing and then skiing.
Oh yeah,
that's why you ski. Yeah, it's funner too. It's insane. You can, like, jump, do fun things.
When I was younger, we used to have a guy that we'd go out with on his boat, and he had a wakeboard, and they're wider than a ski, obviously, but they're not near as long. And so it doesn't take much for you to all of a sudden shoot off in a direction, and you're just like, whoa, what's going on?
So
that's awesome.
I don't think I've told you this story, but I actually, between my junior and senior year of high school, ripped my ankle up.
Oh no!
On one ski. So I was on one ski, and we were turning to go in, and I turned a little bit too much and fell, and my back foot came out.
Ouch.
And my front foot was still in, and it just twisted.
Yeah.
Tore
twist your
tendons,
ankle.
ligaments, screws
no.
are all in it now.
Don't
so
do that.
kept me from being a heptathlete.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
I think you'd have been a good heptathlete too.
Yeah, I would have. So tell us a
He's
little
a
bit
wrestler.
about tell us a little bit about growing up in Missouri.
Yeah.
And let me get my notes here. And if you guys are seeing us look down a lot, it's because we did have some technical difficulties and our normal
Yeah.
screen isn't there. So we're looking at our smaller
iPad.
screen to see Bri. But 4-time All-American honors in high school. 3-time
times.
Springfield Sports Commission High School Track Athlete of the Year. And I think as cool, set school records in the 100, 200, 400, 100 hurdles, long jump, and 4x100 meter relay. So are those, my first question is, before you get into growing up in Missouri and the fun you had there, are all of those records still there today since you've only been gone a couple of years?
Yes, they are. And the
Okay.
4x.
And the 4x2. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Awesome. Yeah. So tell us about growing
Yeah.
up in Missouri.
Well, I was actually born in Texas and lived there until I
Oh
was.
my God. I'm out.
He's a big OU fan sometimes. so-
Texas. Yeah. At least you moved away. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I was born in Corpus Christi and, like I said,
wow.
lived there for 7 years. And we lived on our little ranch. And I grew up riding horses. I loved animals like kittens and little dogs. Like we had a lot of cats running around because I would always ask for a new cat all the time. And yeah, I was a little cowgirl, I guess you could say. And then we moved after my dad retired from the Coast Guard. He was in there for 20
wow.
years.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
And
awesome.
That is cool.
yep, we moved to Marshfield, Missouri, and bought some land and built a barn, like all that stuff. And now we have a farm, not a ranch. And I love it. It's like so super peaceful. It's really beautiful. The Ozarks area, and of course Table Rock Lake adds a lot to that. It's like my
Yeah.
favorite place to be.
Interior.
We've had a lake house for about 10 years, I think,
There
9
you go.
years. So we spend a lot of time there. And yeah, it's a great
and
place
I
to
believe,
be.
weren't we talking that your family is now thinking about moving down there permanently?
Yeah, so they're
Yeah.
building a house right now.
Yeah.
Should
Wow.
be done in February.
Wow.
And I can't believe they're building right now because I feel like it's a really hard time to build. But
Yeah.
I think that's
It's a
just,
hard time to do a lot of things right now.
So
yeah, it is.
so you have what? One sibling, is that right?
Yeah, his name is Brock, and he just graduated from Mizzou, and now he's getting his
wow.
MBA at Missouri State University in Springfield.
Nice. Yep.
Did he do any sports or anything at Mizzou or?
No, he didn't. He just went to school. He could have gone to school for football, but
Yeah.
he didn't want to go to like a smaller school. I think he either wanted to go like to a big school or like not go at all. So
Right.
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
got you, man.
Awesome. So you're the youngest, which means you're probably the most spoiled, right? Your parents spoil you the most, or?
oh yeah. I would
That's
say
awesome.
I
That's
think
awesome.
I'm the favorite child, but I think he would disagree. He gets to spend a lot more time with him now that he lives in Springfield, so
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
kind of
Sure.
he's probably becoming their favorite again, but because I
Yeah.
got a couple years at home without him being at home because he was at Mizzou and I was a junior, senior in high school, so
Yeah, we experience that now. I have 3 boys, and we've talked about it. 2 of them are at Wichita State right now, but the other one is a freshman in high school, and so he's the only one at home with me and his mom, and so I'm sure his brothers think he gets to do whatever he wants, and
yeah.
and yeah, so I get that for sure. Well, talk to us about. I'm curious, like your recruiting process,
Yeah.
like how what led you to Wichita State? You know, what got you to commit to Wichita State? Kind of how did that go? And
Yeah. So I was just a sprinter, hurdler. My well, I just sprinted actually my freshman and sophomore year of high school. So I was just thinking about doing sprinting in college, And then I met a coach, and he was like, you should try to hurdle and like add some more events to your plate. And I was like, okay. So my junior year, I was going to try hurdling, and then COVID happened and our season got canceled.
Yeah.
And so I started to work at hurdling and like long jump, and I practiced a lot. And then I did AAU meets, and I did really well.
Good.
I think my fastest time was like a 14:65 my junior year in the summer, and then I was long jumping consistently like 18, high 18s, like 18.6, 18.9.
Right.
So I was like, okay, well, obviously I can do these events. And
Yeah.
then after that, after my marks that summer, I started getting a lot of phone calls and a lot of big D1 schools reaching out to me, and couldn't really go on any visits at that time. I mean, I had a couple months I could, so I went to like Missouri State and Mizzou, but I didn't really fall in love with either one of them, so I knew I didn't want to go to those schools.
Yeah.
And then Coach Rainbow actually came on a in-school visit,
Okay.
and yeah, he just traveled down to little Marshfield, Missouri, and had an indoor meet that weekend, and he came and watched me at Mizzou. And then so he just like really showed a lot of interest, and I was excited like about that just because I knew he had a good multis program, and I was leaning more towards that way after I'd added the hurdles and long jump to my plate. And yeah, I got calls from like OU and KU, and I kind of narrowed it down to like 5 schools. And it was like a week from signing day, National Signing Day in November. And I was like the day before, and I was like, you know what? Like, I don't want to wait anymore. I know what I truly want, and there's no reason
Yeah.
to like wait any longer.
Yeah.
So I signed with Wichita State, and the rest is history.
Yes.
Nice. So what's interesting to me, well, two things are really interesting to me. One, like I didn't run hurdles as a freshman or sophomore, and somebody said I should do it. So I tried it and then broke some school records.
Right. Look at this guy.
You know, was great at that. But
oh, you're talking about her.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what I meant.
was
Yeah.
like, did you?
No,
really?
I'm talking about her. She didn't do it as a freshman or a sophomore, and somebody told her she should.
Because I was just like, I don't see
Yeah,
it,
which
Chad.
leads me to my next point, kids. Don't do drugs.
Right. Oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So I mean that I thought that was amazing, but the other piece was interesting. So you guys did indoor track meets in high school as well?
I personally did.
Okay.
I did basketball my freshman year, and
Yeah.
when you do basketball, you have no time for anything else. It is like you're
There
very
she is.
dedicated to that
There
one
you go.
sport. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
And
There you go.
so I also was like constantly like getting injured. Like it's a very physical sport as well. Like I fractured my eye right here
Oh no.
in my last ever game of my life, and that was like our last game of the season. And
Oh wow.
after that, I was like, Mom, like I don't want to do this anymore. And
Yeah.
then I was bored my sophomore year, and I was like, you know what? Like I think there's indoor track. Like I'm gonna look into it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And there was, and there's Mizzou's only a couple hours from me, and then
Yep.
like Pitt State meets and
Okay, yeah.
just like small D1 or D2 schools around where I live in Missouri, and I just traveled and went to those and
Oh yeah.
bored anymore. So
That's awesome. I mean, I think
It is
figuring out
amazing.
that, you know, hey, I'm going to focus on this.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go.
I like it.
So is total sidebar here. Like, I don't feel like you have blonde hair in this picture.
Yeah.
So is that natural or?
So I was born with blonde hair, and then
Okay.
as I got older, it got darker.
Right.
And if you ever saw my mom and my brother, they have like bleach blonde, like natural hair. My dad
wow.
has light hair, And yeah, my hair turned brown as I got older, so
Okay.
I tell it's brown.
So
So
you're
yeah,
so you dye
I'm
it
a
is what
fake
you're saying.
blonde.
You're
Yeah, I'm a fake.
But here's the
Funny.
So I have
thing. You're
parts of a brunette, but I have the hair of a blonde. Is what
Right.
I
That's
like.
all right.
That's great.
You're a
That's
D1
Yeah,
heptathlete.
exactly.
You
I
can
know.
have
Yeah,
whatever
you can
hair
do
you
whatever you want.
want.
That's
Yeah.
great.
It's so funny
Yeah.
because no one knows that I don't have naturally blonde hair, or yeah, naturally blonde hair. Like at practice, uh, they're like, "Is your hair like actually blonde?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"No." And they're like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm actually brunette."
Oh, I can just imagine
It's
that.
fun.
That's funny.
So tell us about what's been your experience so far with NIL in the first year, and we're obviously excited to work with you some with the Lady Shock Squad and get some opportunities your way. But tell us a little bit about your NIL experience and what you thought when Brad and I first reached out about what we were doing and what kind of came to your mind on that.
Yep.
Yeah. So NIL, I was kind of like excited about it, but confused about what it was for a while, just
Yeah.
because it wasn't a thing at all, and it just kind of came out of nowhere.
Right.
And I was like, whatever, like I'm not gonna get any deals. Like I'm a woman, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
Yeah.
it just wasn't common for girls to get deals, I guess, as much as like football players and like basketball players. And so I was like, whatever. And then they started having meetings with us.
Yeah.
And they were like, you guys need to like put yourself out there and like reach out to some businesses and stuff. But I never did. I was just kind of like, I'll let it, whatever happens, happens. Like I kind of was like, I need to prove myself and like go to nationals, and then I'll like start talking to people, I guess, was like kind of my mentality about it. And then I got reached out to by Chicken and Pickle.
Yeah, we saw that. That's awesome.
That's very cool.
Yeah. And I was like, like that's a cool deal. Like it's pretty simple. Like it's I love playing pickleball, so that was a good sell point. And I liked how they were like reaching out to both men and women. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this one. And they had like a lot of us athletes there playing pickleball the other night, and it's just like a good environment.
Good.
And so that's a good one. And then about a week later after that, y'all reached out to me, and I just like talked to you guys, and you told me like what it was, pretty much giving women the opportunity in the NIL, because like I said before, we don't get as much as the men do. And so I was like, oh my gosh, of course, like that is a great thing, and I've never heard of anyone doing that. So it was just like made me feel good, because like that you guys are wanting to give women opportunities in the sports industry. And so yeah, and then of course then you guys told me about how you also wanted to do things for the, like how we talked about the orphans, I guess, and like that kind of thing. That, like,
some nonprofit stuff.
Some nonprofit stuff.
Nonprofit.
Things that matter to you. Yeah.
Yep. And just giving us opportunities was the big thing that I was mostly very excited about, and to be a part of the Lady Shock Squad.
Awesome. Well, I tell you, I get fired up because you did say something right at the beginning. You were like, when NIL started, I was a little confused, that type of thing. But then you also said, I didn't think I was going to get anything because I was a woman. And all the deals were going, and we've done a lot of research on that. And at the beginning, the first year of NIL deals, that is true. Like 74% of all NIL deals were going to football and men's basketball and maybe men's baseball too. And then everyone else was getting the rest. And I had told Chad, I was like, man, they're missing the boat. I'm telling you that. They are paying way too much attention to what is on TV all the time, like football and basketball and those huge deals for stuff. I said, but they really need to start paying attention to these these women and how they treat their fans, how they interact with their fans, how they, whatever. I said, because they're going to keep people coming back to them and interact with them, and they're just a lot better at it. And what did you see just the other day?
It's up 22%. Yeah, women's NIL deals are up 22% year over year. So
just in the last year, and that is something that Paladin Strategies. That's what Paladin's a champion for a cause. I mean, that's literally the definition. And our cause is we want to be a piece that helps bring that gap down. As far as money that goes to athletes and whatnot, and so. We are super excited to have you be a part of it and whatnot.
And I think for those that don't know, we should mention too, like Bri is one of our going to be one of our students that's going to be on our student leadership team, and so we have a group of them at Wichita State that we'll be working with and having meetings with to make sure that things are going well with the ladies shock squad. So we're glad to have you on board. And I'm curious. I got one more question, then Brad's got some for you, and then we can jump off here. But have you had to with the COVID stuff? Have you had to run against anybody that's like 27 and 28 and been there for a while because they had a COVID year and a redshirt year and a injury redshirt year or any of that?
Oh yeah, every day.
Yeah. Interesting.
Freshmen or sophomores on our team that are seniors, which is crazy.
Like academically, they're seniors, but they're still sophomores athletically
wise.
And at conference, we were all talking, and there's like a lot of girls that are like, "Oh, I'm like 23, like I'm ready to be done with this year," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm 19." Like that's
right.
I'm 19.
That is insane.
Well, we're going to move into our next segment here, which is our last segment before we get going here. And so this is the random question segment. So Brad has 4 random questions for you, Bri. So Brad, take it away.
So I want you to brag to me about the best things going in the past 30 days. What's the best things going in Brianna's life?
The past 30 days. Well, of course, the NIL with y'all, and then chicken and pickles, probably my number one thing. I've made some money, which is really nice. And my events have really been getting a lot better. And so I'm really excited about this season just because of how much I have improved. And like practices, I've been doing really well. Just all of that stuff. I've gotten A's on every single one of my anatomy physiology tests that I've taken.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Mom and Dad, did you hear that? She's crushing it academically still. That is great. That makes our dad hearts happy to hear that the academics is in order.
I'm going to need you to go talk to my sons and make sure that they focus on their academics a little more.
Yeah, over there. They're at Wichita State too. So which living person do you most admire?
It's got to be one of us.
I doubt it.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to say Sydney McLaughlin.
Okay.
The 400 hurtler. She's
Oh man,
great role model for women and men in sports. She's just like a great person, and I love how she's open with her faith with God, and she just carries herself in such a humble way, even though she's the best in the world. So.
Yeah.
Awesome. Man, I would agree wholeheartedly with that. Awesome. I remember watching her, and it just looked like she was toying with them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really that much better than you guys. And but she would never say that. You know, like she gets done with her, and she's like, I want to thank God, and then she's like, man, this has just been so great. Da 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 da. And I'm just like, you kicked their butts. Like,
I know.
If that were me, if I was that good at anything, I'd probably be walking around just flexing, and because I wouldn't know how to handle that much success.
I'll tell you what, if I was like that, my clothes would be drippy.
Right, drippy.
Oh,
yes. Wow, that's hilarious.
Pretty drippy.
We learned some words last time when we met with Sydney McKinney. That dope like that's dope, and we're like, okay, man, because we're old and we don't know the vernacular right now. But we know,
Dope was good
but we
when
know
we were
words
younger
like-
too.
Was it?
Yeah.
I
Drippy
don't
was
know.
not.
No,
Drippy
Drippy
was
was
not.
not.
So
Yeah. So, all right, cool. So what would be your best day ever?
and you
Hmm.
can't say doing a podcast with Brad and Chad.
So besides that,
Besides that.
My best day ever would be waking up and eating a bowl of chai seed pudding,
mm-hmm.
and then with peanut butter and Nutella in it, and then going on a walk with my mom and our dogs, and then putting my swimsuit on and going on the boat for hours, and then getting all tan and like a little sunburn, and then that night
Would you be doing that?
coming back and sitting around the fire with friends and family at the lake.
Right. I love it.
I giggled because she said Nutella, and yeah, my youngest could live off of Nutella sandwiches.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
Really good.
What you got, Brad? What's the last
Okay,
one?
here's my last question. If you had someone following you around, so your own little personal assistant, okay? If you had someone following you around all the time, what would you have them take care of so you didn't have to?
Maybe picking my outfits out, because I feel like I spend a lot of time trying to figure out like what to wear every day. If you ask like I'll have like 3 different outfits like on my bed. I'm like contemplating which one
Right.
should I wear. So maybe like a stylist.
There you go. I love it.
Oh yeah,
I love it.
yeah. Well, Bree, tell everybody where can they find you on social media?
All of my social media is Brianna Utecht, spelled just like on the screen.
There you go.
And no capitals, no space.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. TikTok, Instagram. Oh yeah, follow me on TikTok. No, just kidding.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
And
I feel like I saw a video with you and a boy on TikTok.
What? No.
Right.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Boys.
Well, Bree, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah,
We
this is-
appreciate it. We had a fun time. Brad and I could
Oh,
sit and
man.
talk all day, but we
yeah,
know
we
that
can.
you have some stuff you've got to get done today with practice. So
Yep.
good luck at that.
Yep.
And we definitely appreciate you join us, and we're glad to have you as part of the Ladies Shock Squad. And we're excited to get things rolling and get some more deals coming your way.
Yes.
We're super excited about that.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Thank you all for having me. It was a great time.
awesome. Take
All
care.
right.
We'll see you, Bree.
See you, Bree.
Bye.
All right, another great podcast right there. Having Bree on, enjoyed that one right there, Brad. I thought
Oh,
it was.
yeah.
I mean, she's amazing talent.
Yeah. It's phenomenal when you sit there and look at what they,
Yeah,
what they have to master as far as a skill set.
yeah,
I mean, you got to be fast. You got to be able to jump. You got to be strong.
yeah.
And
ton
then
of stuff.
And then throwing a javelin. Have you ever tried to
Oh,
throw
my
a javelin?
gosh.
I mean, like I was a pretty good baseball player,
Yeah,
and I tried to throw a javelin, and I looked like an idiot. Like it was awful.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is.
yeah,
I threw it and it kind of went like all crazy. And,
Yeah.
and, I was just like, holy smokes. So I mean, the sheer amount of athletic ability and athletic techniques that
Yeah.
a heptathlete has to master is off the charts.
yeah. Absolutely. Hey, join today if you're not already a member. Get your membership today at ladiesshocksquad.com, whether individual or business.
Yep.
Our focus with the Ladies Shock Squad is NIL deals for women's athletes at Wichita State University. So make sure and join today. And Brad, another great episode, and we'll catch you guys.
We got to shout out Miss Ballard's class.
We did shout out. Hey, glad to have Miss
Glad to have you guys
Miss
on here.
Ballard's class. That's a good one right there. So.
Yep, good.
We'll catch you guys next time on the Ladies Shock Squad podcast. We appreciate you joining us today, and we'll see you on the next one. Signing off for the Ladies Shock Squad podcast. This is Brad and Chad. We'll see you guys next time.